Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're back in AFK Journey, and in today's video we're going to be making a guide for the Alpha Bear boss. It is one of the very difficult bosses to face in the new season, but now that we've had a lot of experience with it, I think I have an idea of the best heroes that you can run. In here, he has very different mechanics from the other bosses, and the key thing here is really shielding heroes are going to be the best way to protect your team, because heals become much reduced in their effectiveness once honey is started stacking on your team. I think it reduces the value of heals by 80%. So just Smokey alone, although Smokey still is going to be a key part of this team, is not going to be enough to keep your team alive. So this is where Coco comes in, especially if you have Coco at Mythic Plus. This is where she is going to really help you survive maybe even the entire duration of the boss fight without having your team wipe. Because the shielding she provides at Mythic Plus is so important for protecting your team. So if you don't have Coco at Mythic Plus, she still is very usable in this team, and I used to use her before having her Mythic Plus. I only recently got her like a couple of days ago to Mythic Plus, and she does still allow your team to survive a little bit longer, but the problem is when her final basically ultimate wears off, all the damage which she reduced during that time is going to be dealt as true damage, and if you're not able to sustain back up due to the reduced value of the heals, your team is going to just all die as soon as that final ultimate wears off. But with the shields, you're going to be able to prolong and continue to survive because of that shielding too. But anyway, she's still a good option. Apart from that, Rainier at Mythic Plus is going to be your best form of debuffer for this team if you have him. If you don't have Rainier at Mythic Plus, the best substitution for him would be Kruger. Because Kruger is one of the best form of debuffers who also deals pretty good physical damage, can tank out the boss pretty well. And so if you're combining him with maybe Merrily on the team plus maybe Corin, who are both physical damage dealers, they will really benefit from the debuff that Kruger provides. However, Kruger is only physical debuff, and so for example Odie, who's a magic damage dealer, is not going to benefit anything from the debuffs that Kruger will apply onto the boss. So another good option is of course Thorin. As always, he can be used in almost any Dreamrealm boss due to his amazing tankiness. He has Soul Plunder to increase the damage the boss takes by 17%. So like Rainier increases the damage boss takes by 25%, but Thorin increases by 17%. So Thorin can be kind of like a mini Rainier until you have Rainier at Mythic Plus. And he also provides more protection for your team, especially if you don't have maybe a Mythic Plus Coco and you don't have the shields to keep your team alive. The Soul Pact can allow your major damage dealer to survive a little bit longer, and I use Thorin for a lot of my time playing in Alpha Bear. It was only until recently that I've phased him out of my gold team. But Thorin is a good option for debuffs. If you don't have Smokey, you have to have, at this point in the new season, and if you've had Smokey on your wish list, you should have at least one copy of Smokey by now. The attack buff and haste buff still is so important for increasing the damage you deal, and he does still sustain your team pretty well until everyone is stacked with honey, and even then he does offer still some amount of sustain, because heals are not completely negated, they're just really reduced in their effectiveness. So Smokey has to be here. You don't have to put him in this frontmost position if he's dying too quickly. Maybe the boss is attacking him too much, then you can put him into the back second line. That's fine. But if you have no trouble surviving, put him in the middle position so he can buff as much of the map and heal also your tank in the front. So we've talked about debuffers. Instead of Rainier, both Kruger or Thorin are good options. Coco is the best form of shielder, but if you don't have Coco, you can use actually Corin in place of Coco. You can use a team like this. This is a team which I use sometimes in early stages of Alpha Bear, and even in when it was actually a Primal Lord boss before the new season even launched, I used a team like this quite a lot. So Corin provides a lot of shielding, he also provides a lot of damage, so he is a good option here. But in this boss fight, you need to have at least one hero who is going to be one tile away from the boss, who is tanking the boss, because otherwise the boss is going to do a massive AoE attack if he notices that there are no enemies within one tile to him. And because Corin is he has a range of 2, he is going to be one tile away from the boss, and the boss will not basically consider him to be one tile within his range, and so he will do his massive AoE attack. So Corin cannot be your only frontline hero. And then for damage deals, Odie is the best damage dealer here, and you just want to try to maximize him. And Marilee is probably the second best damage dealer here. However, a lot of people also do well with Floribel. So let's just go back to the main team that I'm using right now. This is a main team I'm using, partly because I don't have a very ascended Floribel, but another good team you can run is you can get rid of Marilee and put Floribel in here, because the reason Floribel does well in this Alpha Bear boss is because her summons will allow you to bypass the honey stacking mechanic. Basically, the boss is going to start wiping out your team or dealing massive damage to everyone when everyone is stacked up with honey. If you have summons though, it takes him longer to stack everyone with honey because he has to stack the summons with honey too. And Floribel has summons who are long range, and also short range, close to the boss, and so with the multiple summons it takes a lot longer for the boss too stack with honey stacks, and your team is basically just going to survive longer because of that. And also Floribel does contribute decent damage, especially if she's ascended highly and she's at like Mythic Plus. She can deal a lot of damage with her and her summons, and so she is a really good option and probably the best here once you have her maxed out and well ascended. But until then, Marilee is totally viable, and Marilee would be the second best option. Of course, Marilee deals more damage than Floribel, but Floribel for that protection of your team. And also, I think when she's fully ascended, maybe she can even contribute more damage with all of her summons than Marilee. I'm not sure about that. So that is it. If you're running Cecia is a decent, pretty good option in Alpha Bear because she also has a summon of her own. So it will need the boss to stack one extra honey stack before he starts annihilating your team onto her summon basically. And Cecia gets off good damage. If you're running Thorin and Cecia together, you also can get the faction bonus if you have 3 Maulers. Like for example, a team like this. This is a very viable earlier game team, which does really well. And it fills all the needs of the team. So I think we've talked about everything. Odie is the best damage healer here. You want to always have him. Smokey as well, best sustainer healer. You want to have him in the team always. Coco is best if you have her Mythic Plus, and even before Mythic Plus, I still think I would not replace her for anything because the damage reduction she has, it can elongate your fight a little bit even without the shielding. So you have that, and then Rainier Mythic Plus, you have to run him. He's the best debuffer in the game for maximizing your damage. And then finally, Marilee or Floribel. We'll test with both of them, Marilee and Floribel, to see how it works. But my Marilee is like completely maxed out, and my Floribel is only Legendary, nor even Legendary Plus. So this will give you a good idea of like, should you use Floribel even if you have a fully built up Marilee. As for the artifacts, this is the final thing we have to talk about. The 3 artifacts, I think the best one, in my opinion, is the Quick Blade spell. It gets off the most damage, and so I think this is the best because you have a lot of protection in your team with the Coco and with the Smoky heals early on. You have a lot of sustain, and so I don't think you need to have extra from like Evocation spell. Evocation spell doesn't deal as much damage as a Quick Blade spell, but if you need the survivability, if you need the haste, it can be a good option, and it's like second best compared to Quick Blade spell in terms of damage. It still gets off a lot of damage, but not as damaging as Quick Blade spell. And Star Shard spell is still honestly always a good option. The haste helps you casting your ultimates faster, casting your skills, and also just the damage every 3 ultimate casts is pretty high that it can contribute. So first of all, we're going to start with the Star Shard spell and see how the team, or no, let's start with Quick Blade spell. I think this is the best one, and then we'll try with Floribel after this. So here we go. This is the first time I'm actually testing the team now that we have Coco at Mythic Plus. And one final thing I forgot to mention, like we said, you have to have one hero in the front line to tank the boss, otherwise the boss is going to deal AoE attacks, dealing massive damage if he notices there's no one there. So we're getting Rainier to teleport Odie into the front line because he will stay there. Like if we teleport Marilee into the front line, she's going to jump away and he's going to start dealing those AoE damage attacks. And the thing is, you have the Coco shield protection, you have the heals from Smokey, so Odie will still be able to survive even though he's in the front line for a long time. And there we go, we got an easy clear of that, and now we're going to move on to the next difficulty level, which is going to be Epic, I think. Yeah, Epic. And I can't remember how many difficulties there are. I think there's one after Epic, which is called maybe Difficult, and then there's Endless Mode. I can't really remember. Anyway, so as you can see, the damage slows down a lot compared to the previous round. We're hoping, like, you want to hit those thresholds, ideally 20% to get that equipment chest. For us, we should be able to get 20%, and then 40% is the next tier for the next equipment chest. But as you can see, look at the shielding from Coco, and this is why Coco is just one of the MVPs of this Alpha Lord boss, and especially why it's a priority to get to Mythic Plus. Because in other Dream Realm bosses, the shield is not so impactful because you have Smokey to constantly sustain your team up. But because in Alpha Bear he reduces the effectiveness of your healing, you need that shielding for protection, and Corrin can't shield enough. Like, Corrin, I know we said was like kind of a backup option if you don't have Coco at Mythic Plus, but really he doesn't do nearly as good of a job as Coco because Coco does the AoE shielding. There we go, we got over 40%, which is really good with Quick Blade. Let's see what rank we get. Rank 7, good. Yeah, in the past 2 days we finished rank 7 both times in the Dream Realm, which is pretty amazing because like towards there were a couple of days in the season where I couldn't even break into top 10 with hardcore playing, but now we're like pretty safely even in top 7. Looking at the damage, look at the damage Merrily contributed, and this is why I think for me, because Floribel is not ascended and my Merrily is fully like maxed out, I don't think it will be better for me to be running Floribel instead of Merrily, but we can give it a try. We will test it out and see how it does. And Floribel here, and let's just go ahead and place her over here. So this is really interesting to me, the fact that Floribel is now really one of actually the best options in the Alpha Bear boss, and I can definitely imagine situations and boss fights in the future where you will need these summons. It provides a very unique effect. And like, I mean, if you have a maxed out ascended Floribel and you have these 3 summons who are like combined, like her companions, the damage you can get off with her should be like even higher than any one damage dealer you can be running. So I think Floribel, this is also why if you watch my yesterday's video, I talked about how Floribel is a key hero you want to be putting on your wish list because she's not obtainable from different various shops. Okay, so still Coco is going to die, but the shield is going to keep the other 3 left alive. But yeah, this didn't do nearly as well. Maybe we can try again this team with more of sustained heavy focus with like the evocation spell. But if you look at the damage, Odie was able, I think, contributed more damage this fight than the previous one. But Floribel deals hardly any damage. And yeah, so maybe I was getting carried, maybe like I mean, Merrily is just the key, one of the best damage dealers in the game. For some reason, I thought maybe if you could have so many summons for Floribel, it would be able to compete with Merrily's damage, but I think not. It can't really compete with it. But let's check it out again. So if you notice, if you have multiple frontline, like 1 tile radius heroes who are up in the front line, the boss will use his attack and spread honey on all of them. So it isn't really like having those extra summons in the front doesn't really help much for delaying the honey stacking. It's really the one that Floribel summons behind her in the back that helps you survive for longer. And that's why Cicia, although she is good because she can summon, the summon is not really going to help like prolong the honey stacks because it's still going to be up in the front line and getting stacked right away along with the Odie. Okay, so in that fight, Odie died before the Coco shield even came off, and this was even worse. So evocation spell, it has some like lifesteal effect, but I think that like lifesteal and any form of healing is going to be reduced by the boss's honey stacking. So evocation spell is not a good option for Alpha Bear. Like, I would not recommend this. It's either Quick Blade or Star Shard. So now we're gonna go back to what is, in my opinion, my best team. And I'm actually, it's pretty a good thing, the fact that Merrily is the best damage contributing team, because it means that all you have to do is build up Merrily, who's an A-level hero, to Mythic Plus, and you can have like maximum damage in this Alpha Bear. You don't need an S-level hero at Mythic Plus or above in order to be your maximum damage here. However, I do also see that maybe in the future, when you have like a really highly ascended Floribel, it could be possible that that team will just be more damaging than this team with Merrily in it. But for right now, this is the best team for me. And I think for a lot of people out there, this will be the best team. But if you have Floribel at Mythic Plus or above, you can experiment with that as well. And like we mentioned, there are replacements to most heroes here. If you want to replace Coco, I would recommend Corrin. But even if you don't have a Mythic Plus Coco, you do not have to replace her. She can still be viable even before Mythic Plus, and I used her for quite some time. But yeah, if you notice the shielding right there, that shielding like bought like, I don't know, almost 10 seconds for the OD at the end, even after Coco died, and you would not be getting that extra time if you didn't have the Coco at Mythic Plus. Okay, this almost did the same damage, 41.3%, and our previous best was 42.7%. But I do think on average Quick Blade is better, so I would recommend that you run Quick Blade. We've tested basically everything. Pretty much everything, and we've talked about all the replacements, debuffer replacement, Thorin or Kruger like we said, and it is up to personal preference which one you opt for. Coco replacement could be Corrin or could be Coco even without Mythic Plus. You can experiment, see which one does better for you. In my opinion, Quick Blade spell is going to be the best for your damage, but Star Shard spell is a close second, and you can always try it out. Maybe it will work out better for you. Smokey has to be run here, Odie has to be run here. If you don't have a Rainier to teleport Odie into the front line, you need to have like one of these debuffers which we mentioned, Thorin or Kruger, which are then going to tank out the front line instead. So that is pretty much it. I don't think we have to do another run. You guys basically saw how the team works. I will do maybe some extra runs, but let's see the leaderboard. Yeah, there's no way I can beat these other top 6 people. I'm always like 7th to all of them. And we have a pretty decent point lead on the other people. Like, even if they have Merrily and OD fully built up, it still is going to be difficult for them to beat our score. So I think, again, we should be pretty safe here. District ranking, you aim for the highest you can. We're aiming for top 50. We can't get in the top 20. I really want this robe. This robe is one of the coolest outfits in the game. I think it's the best outfit in the game, actually, for, like, clothing. But top 20 of District is very difficult. Like, without spending quite a bit for those bonus season essence, it's difficult to compete for this because they're gonna out-level you. And of course, like, I mean, if they're level 300, level 310 people competing to my level 280, there's no chance I have, right? Okay, so this is we get to enjoy the rewards of our efforts. So here, I mean, for AFK stage pushing, I think the mage one is a little bit better. But for if you ever use Corrin, although like I mentioned in yesterday's video, the new updated wish list, Corrin has kind of been replaced in a lot of the Dream Realm teams, at least for right now, until we have Endless modes. I think in Endless modes you are going to be running him again. But until then, he will take a little bit of a backseat, and he is always a decent option, but he's not currently the best option in most of the Dream Realm bosses, other than maybe Necrodraken, although I actually didn't even use him in Necrodraken recently. Yeah, so we deceptively have the highest number of chests. The highest number of chests is actually going to be Corvo once he gets his 45 contribution. Then he'll be up to 67. We're at 65. But we're doing very well. We managed to finish, Supreme Arena hasn't reset, but we're in the 50. We're exactly ranked 50, which I actually think is kind of like, if you are like barely into a division, is kind of a good thing to stay right at 50, because I feel like what people think is like, it's safer if I go up a little bit higher. I'm not going to go right for 50, I'll go for like 45 or 44, 47. So maybe people don't attack me that much, but someone already attacked me and we managed to win all 3 teams. If you want to see, these are the formations I'm running. I haven't put too much effort into anything. What I do here is in the hidden tiles, I don't put anything in the hidden tiles because it can deter people from attacking you, because they're like, oh wow, he has a lot of power. But actually, it's because of the fact that I have nothing hiding behind here. Because when you're attacking someone, like if we look here, when you're attacking someone, it shows you their power, but if there's a hidden one, it will always show plus question mark even if nothing is hidden. Like this person has nothing hidden, so like if you're looking at these 3, you're like, okay, should I attack a 386 million or 495 million? And like, you know that some could be hidden, some could not be hidden. However, you just look at these numbers and you're like, I'm gonna avoid this 495 person, I'm just gonna attack this one. So that it's like kind of human nature that I'm trying to play into. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this is helpful for your Alpha Bear progress. I think I covered all the key heroes to be running. And let me know also what you think if you have like a fully ascended Floribel, how you think it works for you. And yeah, it's but I do like the fact that new heroes are coming into Dream Realm and being very viable, especially like mainly Floribel right now. But thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because we upload daily AFK Journey content with guides and other things to help your progress. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.